traditional burns down the back, canoe rides down the river. It's all to employ our local community. At the end of the project, we're hoping that whoever's employed on this property, the income that we derive from it will be for the community.
Inglebar Reserve sits on the banks of the beautiful McDonald River, and more than 50 Aboriginal families lived there from 1893 to the 1940s. The 40-hectare area of land was acquired by the Aboriginal Land Trust in 1975 and was later transferred to the Amaroo Local Aboriginal Land Council. The last family moved out of Inglebar in the year 2000.
Our main game is to teach people of the culture, have the wider community understand our culture, and what happened on this property is very cultural significant to our people.
As we drove around the property and stopped here and there to soak it all in, we could see the remains of the homes of the past, including foundation stones and chimneys, camp ovens and bedsteads, with some of the old houses still partly standing. We ran into community member Timothy Naylor, who had very clear memories of what the homes looked like once upon a time.
And someone's, like as you can see, there's the fireplace where the old stove was. It was only just a room there and a room on this side. But then someone's coming later on in life and started building onto it, so an extra room, and yes. And before it was only a dirt floor too. And you can actually see where people's been put in the rafters, old rafters, and lived in it, and yes. But my auntie and uncle lived in it for a real long time, they did. And anyway, we weren't staying with uncles or aunties, we were staying with their grandmothers and grandfathers, and yes, we always had a big large, and especially all different families too. It wasn't just one group, it was just all different mobs, so. But we all joined together, and yeah.
That sense of community remains very strong in Walcha, and Ingelbar is integral to that spirit and economic growth into the future. Amaroo LALC has partnered with Northern Tableland's local land services to preserve Ingelbar's history, as well as establishing the Learning Centre. The LALC was also successful in its application for funding in the 2015 round of the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council's Community Fund. Mark Davies says NSWALC's support made an incredible difference to their long-term plans.
Without that community fund, that injection of funds from our support network, our major body, to our community that's we're not as economically as grown as some of the bigger LALCs. I've learnt more of our people, the culture. I've grown so much as an Aboriginal person by being in the network. The support of the network is unbelievable.
Councillor Charles Lynch visited Walcha for Amaroo LALC's opening of its camp kitchen earlier this year at Somerville Reserve through NSWALC's Community Fund. He says well-directed funding can bear wonderful fruit when partnered with creativity and commitment.
When you look at the drive of the Lands Council today, the young chair, Corey Powell, the CEO, Mark Davies, the current board, they're all inspirational people. And it just shows that by working together, what can be achieved for the betterment of the whole of community.
There's already been quite a bit of work on the site, with the slab poured, meeting sheds set up for natural resource management classes, and the first 2 cabins well on the way to completion for tourists to stay when cultural activities begin. It's Amaroo LALC's long-term dream of economic development step by step, with cultural teaching and empowerment, utilising a very special piece of land.
Just the peace and quiet, and sort of get back to sort of back to sort of where you're sort of quiet and within yourself, I suppose it is. And what would you call it? Peace with yourself.